Hey, what's going on, friendos? My name is Ritz, and welcome back to TMI Tuesday. This week's topic is depression and anxiety, but we're also going to answer some random questions that are thrown in there as well, I think. And, yeah, I guess let's just jump right in, because it is 12 o'clock, and I ended up playing H1Z1 instead of recording this, because I'm the worst. So, yeah. So first, we're going to go through all the anxiety depression questions, and then we'll go back to the other questions if we have time. Super Banana Ninja wants to know, do you have any tips for people who want to get into content making but are too anxious to do so? Go at it as a hobby and realize that you have to have a really thick skin to do this. I have been insulted, berated, called a majillion different things, and I kind of am just like, I don't care. I like making stuff, and people seem to like it. Me making stuff, that is. So I'm going to keep making the stuff. Yeah. And, like, you'll kind of go through these phases where you'll feel like you're making not great content or things are down, and you just have to kind of push through that. Bogdan Kaminsky? Sure. Ritz, as a content creator, how do you get past the feeling that the content isn't good enough? I don't say it is. I like your videos. But, for example, I won't say about my pictures I painted that they're any good. On opposite side, there are many people who like them. I can't figure it out. I mean, I work on one painting for months without any very noticeable changes, but I still won't be good enough for me. Or maybe it's just me. So you're always going to be your world's worst critic. Sure, there's going to be people online that are going to might tear things to shreds, and that's just what people do because they're assholes. But realize that their opinion doesn't matter because that's not who you're trying to cater to. But you're always your own worst enemy. I'll watch my Gmod videos, which are probably my most popular videos right now, and I will spend hours on it, and I'll be like, that was great. And I'll go to sleep, and I'll post it the next day or whenever, and then I'll watch it the following day, and be like, oh, I could have cut here, I could have made this better, it's kind of slow, I wish the pacing was faster. And that's just something that you kind of have to come to terms with. You have to weigh the pros and the cons of, I could work an extra 4 hours on this video and make it a really, really good video, or I could not wait the extra 4 hours and go work on other content, or whatever it is. And it's maybe like the difference between like, maybe like here is with extra work, here is without extra work, whereas this is the baseline and this is the top. So it's not like there's much of a difference, but it's kind of, you have to weigh the pros and cons, and, you know, people are going to like it, and some people, you know, just going to like the changes that you make over time, and you won't notice them until you go back like a year or 2 years or something like that, and that's when you'll really notice those changes. Shadow says, I won't go into all the details though, but about 5 months ago I got diagnosed with bad anxiety and IBS to the point where I couldn't leave the house without freaking out or crying. Meds have slightly helped to deal with people coming over without it freaking me out too bad, but still haven't been able to leave the house because of this. You've gotten so depressed because you feel your life is a standstill. It's causing your family to hate you. In your head, you know everything's going to be okay, but you get sick anyway. Any possible advice you can give me? That's actually very common. Not very common. It's very similar to what happened to me. When I was a freshman, sophomore in college, basically both years, I didn't realize what it was, but I had the stomach issue, and it was awful. I couldn't keep anything down. I could hardly eat. I was eating like a hamburger patty a day. I'd be like, can I get a hamburger with no buns at the lunch line? And then that's all I'd eat a day. I lost like 30 pounds in a month. And I later found out it was anxiety, depression, and IBS. My anxiety is generalized anxiety disorder, which means that anything and everything can basically set me off. There's no set triggers. There's a bit of PTSD there, here and there. But for the most part, I get a phone call. And I'm just like, okay, anxiety attack time. And my second semester of my sophomore year of college, I actually dropped out because my anxiety got so bad, I was spending 6 to 8 hours a day on the floor doing absolutely nothing, forcing myself to take a scalding hot shower because the only way that could calm me down a little bit, go get my minimal amount of food, and then go back and lay there. And if I finally felt good enough, I could play a little bit of video games, and it's the only thing that really would take my mind off of it. It sucks. I don't really have great advice to getting you through that because it's kind of different for each person. But for me personally, I now, whenever I get an anxiety attack, I have a routine. I play some kind of more relaxing music from my Spotify or whatever. There's a couple of apps that I play. So some of the apps that I play, Bubble Explode. It's just a really simple bubble popping. There used to be a version on my old phone that was infinite, and the bubbles would just keep popping infinitely, and I would try to clear all of 2 colors so that I could get most points. Hex Forever is just like this, and you gotta make these line up, and if you do it right, and it's really hard for me to do it, they make that line thing that maybe you saw. That is one that I play pretty regularly for anxiety. I started playing Sudoku. I've started just doing very simple puzzle games, and those seem to help me calm down a little bit. Weirdly enough, breathing into a towel has helped. For whatever reason, it just helps me slow down my breathing. And I know my anxiety attacks, when I have them, are completely irrational. And I used to take anxiety medication for them. I used to take Klonopin, or clonazepam, I think is the physical name. I don't remember what the dosage was. It was a very, very high dose, because most medication doesn't work for me very well. I'm just naturally immune to most things, so that's great. But yeah, I kind of just learned to talk myself through it while doing my steps that help it a little bit. In all honesty, my anxiety's gotten so bad that it gives me irritable bowel syndrome, which you guys don't know what that is. It's just where stuff down in that area isn't great. So whenever I get anxiety, I get my IBS symptoms, and whenever I have my IBS symptoms, I get anxiety. So I'm on the toilet the majority of the time. I have anxiety attacks, which is why at Ren Fair that one year I spent 4 hours in the porta potty, because that's where I have to go when I have anxiety attacks, basically, which is not good. But that being said, it's been a long time since I've had daily anxiety attacks. It's been a long time since I've had, bi-daily anxiety attacks and 6-hour anxiety attacks. Now they're a lot shorter and a lot less frequent. So it's usually about once or twice a month, if that. There was a couple months stretch where I didn't have them for like 4 or 5 months, and it's kind of come back lately. And that's just because there's other everyday life and stress that's going on. However, helping with this new diet and this new lifestyle change and everything is helping me a lot more. I'm just trying to be a lot more positive in life, and I think that has actually helped my anxiety go down. So I don't know if any of that helped you at all, but that's the thing that yeah. Gerald says, well, when was the last time you had an anxiety attack, and how do you deal with them? I had your first about 2 or 3 years ago. Wasn't fun. My last anxiety attack was last week, I want to say. I was supposed to go hang out with a friend, and they canceled last minute because they had a fever. And for whatever reason, changing plans is like, I guess, a trigger for me. So I wouldn't really consider it like triggered thing, but like, that's something that happened a lot growing up, and it's just whenever it happens, I kind of get anxiety. Or if I feel like there's too many plans coming up at once, like, oh, okay, well, now I have to push this to this day, and I have to do this, and I have this meeting here, and I have this and this, my brain just starts to go, okay, now we're going to think about a million things. My brain just starts going rapidly, and basically that's how it goes. And like I said earlier, how I deal with them: go to the bathroom, deal with IBS symptoms, because that happens for me. Usually play a game, listen to music, breathe into the towel, like just like a big beach, or not beach towel, but like my big bath towel, and just like do that a little bit. And when I'm feeling well enough, I hop in the shower and turn it as hot as I can that I can stand, because for whatever reason that helps relax me. And then sometimes I'll have to go back onto the toilet, which is great, but once that's done, it's usually all right. So now that I've started to learn that my anxiety is a lot more so related to stress, I've learned how to talk myself out of them a little bit. Not necessarily like I can talk myself out of them completely, but I can be like, yo, you're having an anxiety attack because of this stress. Like, as soon as this is done, we're going to do this. That's going to take care of part of the stress. We can maybe cancel this. And I basically like order all the stuff I have to do. And then I'm like, okay, just list it out and figure out what I gotta do, and then start tossing things if I need to, or being like, you're stressing out over nothing. Fucking get with the program, deal with it. So it's kind of like a lot of different things. I just try what works until it works, and then once it works, I'm like, cool, now back to everyday life, because that's what happens all the time. This is not directly related to anxiety and depression, but there was a question here that says, the Shagster, what ethnicity are you? Love your vids. I don't know what my ethnicity is. I was adopted, but I have 23andMe. This is going to be a video probably in a couple months, because it takes like 2 months to get the results back. But I'm going to be shooting me doing the thing, taking the test, and then in a couple months we will get the results back, and we will find out my ethnicity / heritage. So, yay! Another one that caught my eye. Yamaris Pina says, can you try to sing? I believe you'll have an amazing voice. I actually write lyrics and have been for years and years and years now. I only usually sing on stream because people can only hear it when I'm doing it, and usually I'm warmed up. Here is one of those. And most of my lyrics are actually about anxiety and depression. So, here's one. I haven't warmed up. This is going to be awful. So, I am feeling so stressed, I am under duress, I don't think I'll be okay, because every day it's the same old story, all these people out here are fighting for glory with no sense of self or sanity, there's no trace of their humanity. So there's that one, woo! And then here's another quick one for you guys. I don't have any like guitar parts or anything. It's literally just I freestyle these, and these are all first passes. So, these people around me, they're not what they should be. They're leading their lives all wrong. And I can't help but notice their sadness and hopeless, and how can I stay strong? 'Cause I'm surrounded by my failures, and I'm surrounded by my flaws. I have to pick myself back up again, but I'm afraid I might be caught. This cold vacant silence consumes me like violence, and I am not alright. But if I pick up the pieces, confirm all my thesis, I'll march on towards the light. So that's lyrics that I write. I usually don't share those, so maybe I'll cut them, maybe I won't. Ken M says, I have pretty bad social anxiety. I've noticed that being around people I'm close to helps, especially if they're extroverted. But when I'm on your own, I don't really have good ways of handling it. Any advice? So my anxiety is mostly generalized anxiety, but I am actually completely an introvert. I can be extroverted for short periods of time, but I'm an introvert and very shy through and through. I generally find people I'm comfortable with when I go out and do things, because it makes me feel better and it just lowers my own anxiety about whatever could happen. But more recently, I've started to kind of just put myself out of my comfort zone a little bit as I can, and try to figure out what it is exactly that I'm worrying about. I've noticed that some of my anxiety is about people just judging me in everyday life, and I've started to just not care. That's really helped, honestly, quite a bit. Just going out and being like, I don't really care what people think of how I dress or whatever. I wear a fucking watch, I wear some weird bracelet, I've got tunnels, I got a lip ring. I fucking cut my own hair, so it doesn't always look great, but fuck it. And that honestly has helped me. I've just started putting myself out of my comfort zone and doing things that I otherwise wouldn't, and it started to, make it easier for me doing all this stuff. Samuel BL says, what sort of things do you do to try to help you in depression and anxiety? I've gone through that a little bit. And how would you recommend getting through it? Find somebody to talk to and confide in. Therapists help a bit. I've had multiple therapists growing up. I haven't had one recently because I've kind of gotten to an age where I can kind of work through the issues in my own head, and talking to friends that are basically therapists, except just talking about and exchanging your life experiences. But depression is something that everyone goes through, and I just try to stay on the positive. Like, currently, things haven't been doing so well on the YouTube and Twitch front. I wasn't able to stream for a month. And for a while, I was getting really depressed about that, and then I was kind of just like, yo, let's just change things up. Let's try to make things more exciting and more enticing for me to work and do things. And maybe, if that all happens, then things will start going up again. And, I haven't been depressed since I started doing it. Things haven't started to really go better, but I'm happier making the content that I'm making, and it's kind of something you gotta do every once in a while. Advice for starting YouTube is something that I've answered in quite a few Q&As, not necessarily TMI Tuesday. Just make sure you're starting it as a hobby, you're not in it for the money, because it takes a long time for the money to come. And just make sure you get through as much bad content as you can in the early days, if that makes sense. Everyone's gonna put out bad content here and there, especially when you're beginning, you don't know what you're doing. Hell, the first video I ever posted on one of my older channels literally was like this, and then there was a letterboxing like that of the black thing, because I was like, oh, even though my monitor is in 1080p, I can just render it in 1080p and it'll look good. It didn't. Dumb. It was stupid dumb. But you learn. Sparkly Raccoon says, my question is, how do you deal with depression when you know you have it pretty bad, but your anxiety keeps you from being able to talk to anyone about it? TMI Tuesdays are great. Honestly, I would start writing things down. Write exactly how you're feeling. Try to figure out why you're feeling it exactly when you are. And then if you feel comfortable enough, email it to a therapist or something and be like, hey, I'm having trouble talking about this with a person, but writing it down maybe helps. I know a lot of people that even if they're angry or whatever, they'll write down their thoughts. And usually when they're writing through it, they can process it a little bit better because they can kind of see and they can kind of be like, oh, well, that's caused by that, or vice versa. And that sometimes can help people. Yeah. Sarcastus Hiba? Do you encounter people that think they know everything about your mental disorders and try to tell you how to handle them? I have. It's super annoying. I've learned to just agree and ignore their advice. Yeah, that's basically what you have to do. I've had people multiple times tell me a lot of things about me that they know jack shit about me, to be honest. People in life or even people on the internet, they're like, oh, you're fucking... For example, because I'm gay, people are like, oh, wow, Ritz is such a flaming homosexual. He needs to stop flaunting his sexuality, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, I don't really flaunt it. I just joke about it a lot because I personally feel like if I joke about it, then people, especially the younger kids that watch videos, will be like, oh, there are just people who are gay and that's a thing and it's something like that they can joke about because they're close friends. Maybe, you know, if I was gay, I could joke about it with my close friends and, you know, do things to make them feel more comfortable. Doesn't work for everyone, and obviously my advice isn't gonna work for everyone, you know? It's just not. But if people can take anything that I say and have it help them, then yay, I guess. I don't know if I answered that question at all, but sure. But it's the same thing with mental disorders. People are always like, you have Asperger's, so this is a thing. And I'm like, yes, I have Asperger's syndrome, but also it's super mild at this point because I've been diagnosed for over 10 years. So I kind of learned how to like mask the things, and then the masking of the things becomes second nature, and then I'm just like, bleh. I don't get some sarcasm sometimes, and I don't get like social cues sometimes, but otherwise I've gotten through most of the shit because I like to push myself and force myself to get better at things. So not that. Madeline Reynolds says, did you ever get bullied, and if you did, how did you handle it? I got bullied a lot growing up. I got suspended once in middle school for saying I was gonna use my dad's shotgun to shoot this guy that was making fun of me and spreading rumors that I worship Satan. I didn't have a dad, so that was me being like, well, if it's not actually true and it couldn't physically happen, I can't get in trouble. I still got suspended. It's kind of dumb. I shouldn't have said that. Fucking idiot. But I got bullied a bunch. I got thrown into a glass window once in middle school as well because someone thought I called them a faggot, but I was saying that my last name is Haganah and people were calling me Faganah. This was before I even knew I was gay. To another friend and somebody. People are dumb. Let's see. By the time I got to high school, I got bullied a little bit freshman year. And then by the time I was like junior, senior year, people just stopped giving a shit. And I stopped giving a shit. I stopped doing the things that, you know, kind of put me out. I wore, like freshman year, I wore all black and like I almost said hella and I said hecka instead, which is even worse. I had a bunch of like bracelets and studded things and rings, and I was just trying to be like angsty, like not quite emo, but just like the darker stuff. I blast J-Rock so no one would talk to me while I was walking through the halls. And eventually I just realized that like that was not a way to present myself because I didn't want to be perceived that way. And I got most changed since freshman year by the end of high school in our yearbook because it was just like, yo, I changed a lot. I was kind of just like presented myself how I want to be presented and like did my own shit and was more confident. And confidence kind of has a thing. When people try to bully you and they don't get a reaction, they're going to stop because they're not getting the reaction. All right, so that just about does it for our anxiety Q&A. I'm going to jump in and do some questions. We got about 4 minutes left to do this. So Stephen Claus says, if you were a furry, what animal would you be? Ritz, I have absolutely no idea. I've never really had like a connection with animals. Maybe a dog, because I had a dog growing up, and I don't like cats. Maybe. Or a hyena, I guess, because of my hyena laugh that Max always makes fun of me for, or used to. I toned it down because I got bullied for it. Ha! Bully! Max, the word. I'm just kidding. It's fine. Alter Ego says, which video game character would you want with you during an alien abduction? Also, let's talk about meeting with internet friends for the first time. Love your videos. Fuck, that's a long question. Alien abduction, video game character. I'd want Master Chief. You'd fuck him up. I'd be fine. It'd be great. Actually, I'd probably die. Who knows? Talk about meeting internet friends for the first time. So when I was in high school, my best friend Quinn and I played video games with his friend Chuck. And he was like Halo 2, Halo 3, and Call of Duty 4. He came to visit us when he was looking at colleges. It was the first time we ever met any internet friend online. I'm almost kind of weirded out and then realized there's just some kid my age and we played video games. And now Chuck's off shattering his ankle, like paragliding or something. He goes out with a parachute just on his own and like does stuff. Doesn't play video games anymore. Shy Guy says, would you play Hello Neighbor? Maybe. Caleb Dalton says, would you ever consider getting a stomach tattoo? I don't think so. I think that back and my calves are probably where I'd want to go. Maybe eventually some sort of like sleeve or partial sleeve, but there's nothing that's really drawing me to want to get another tattoo. Our board times, let's talk about your piercings. I've done that in a video from a while ago when I had my nose ring still. Do I like Bring Me the Horizon? They're alright, I guess. Addie Marie says, where's the sailor hat you used to wear on the stream? I think I threw that out, actually. It was like a fucking $2 thing. That was me trying to figure out what branding was. I still don't know what branding is, but I realized that wasn't it. That wasn't how I want to brand myself. My branding now is just I'm a dude who makes videos. And yeah, I guess. I don't know. But that just about does it for this week's TMI Tuesday. Next week, I don't really have a topic planned. I think I had one, but I can't remember now, and it's super late. So if you guys have any questions, I will try to answer as many of them as I can in the next TMI Tuesday video. Make sure to leave them down in the comments down below. And as always, friendos, my name is Ritz. I will see you guys in the next video. Peace out. What's my order? What up? Hey, can I take that?
Hello, human. Might I trouble you for some tea and crumpets? Tea.
Okay.
Right there, right. No. Okay, he's one of those.
Okay.
Shut the fuck up, Brian. You've cheated too many times today.
No.
Yeah,
He's that roadside.
is
No.
correct.
Go back.
That is
Chill.
correct.
Go back up.